Hi, my name is Matt Edelman, and today I want to talk about generative AI in the field of education. So if you're a K-12 educator, involved in post-secondary education, or even a corporate trainer, this video may have some valuable information for you. In this video, I'm going to take you through a brief description of what generative AI is, since it's a blossoming new technology that could change the way we teach and learn. After building a solid foundation about what generative AI is, we'll look at several tools to help integrate this technology into a classroom setting with some concrete examples. With that said, let's get started. The objectives for this module are simple. After completing this module, learners should be able to define generative AI as it relates to an educational setting by providing a specific example or application. Learners should also be able to identify two different platforms in which generative AI is used by citing specific features or use cases for each. And lastly, learners should be able to design and implement some form of educational content using generative AI tools showcasing effective utilization. And of course, our audience remains the same: K-12 educators, college professors, and corporate trainers. Before we dive into the practical applications, let's set the stage with a quick overview of what generative AI is. In simple terms, generative AI refers to technology that can autonomously produce content, whether that be text, image, or even entire simulations. It's a fascinating field with enormous potential, especially in education. Here's a short video from our friends over at the YouTube channel KI Campus that explains generative AI really well.
What exactly is generative AI? When new content is created by artificial intelligence, it's called generative AI. This could involve generating texts and images, as well as videos, music, or voices. To do this, you describe in a chat dialog box what you want the AI to create. This description is called a prompt. The generative AI tools provide answers to all sorts of questions, summarize complex information, and generate diverse ideas quickly. Depending on how they're used, they can create short stories, paintings, pieces of code, or even musical compositions. The foundation for this creation lies in large amounts of data that the AI system accesses to identify patterns and similarities. The content produced by the AI is new. It's often impressive and challenging to distinguish from things humans have made. Generative AI can also be misused. In so-called deep fakes, AI is utilized to produce images or videos that seem real. AI-generated texts are also tough to recognize as machine-made. Moreover, the AI can provide answers that sound correct but are actually incorrect. This is called hallucinating. The quality of what's created depends on both the quality of the data used and the quality of the prompts given. To effectively utilize generative AI, we need to learn how to guide the tools with meaningful prompts and use them thoughtfully. Generative AI holds immense potential and can help us in many ways, such as serving as a writing or learning partner. However, the AI should do the hard work, and humans should be responsible for the facts.
I think it's fair to say that every educator needs to learn about AI and how we can leverage this technology to benefit our students and enhance our own work. To best provide for our students, we need to understand how this technology will impact them and us. What better way than to explore new tools using generative AI in our teaching practice? After watching that introduction, imagine having a tool that can assist educators in creating personalized learning experiences or generating supplemental materials. It's revolutionary. Now let's move on to the exciting part: how you can leverage this in your teaching environment. I've handpicked 2 generative AI applications to show in this video, but there's many more to explore. I'll link some helpful resources in the description below if you'd like to research the topic further. Without further ado, our first generative AI application is a website called Quizzes. Let's take a look at their product trailer, and then we'll dive into how to best use this resource. So here we are at the main page of Quizzes, and as you can tell, there are actually a lot of options for creating with AI. I chose this particular application because it's really useful across all grade levels and all subjects. I like to use this for formative and summative assessments, as well as little exit slips and check-ins, things of that nature. But as you can see, these 5 options, I just want to give you some relevant examples to how you may use this in your own classroom. For example, starting with Create with YouTube. Maybe you're a math teacher and you're teaching something about geometric figures, and you have your students watch a video on YouTube. Well, you can upload your link to Quizzes, and it will allow Quizzes to make questions based on that video that your students watched. This is great for doing something like guided notes or even just checking for understanding after the video is over. You can also import your own Google Slides or Docs to form questions from. Custom prompt is something we're going to play around with here in just a second. But I want to talk about these other 2, which is upload documents and create with links. Starting with uploading your own documents, maybe from a worksheet or a PDF. Just let's imagine for a second that you're an English teacher and you're having your students read some primary sources. This is a great way for Quizzes to generate questions based on that primary source. And of course, you can always edit them later. I'll show you some of the customization options, but that would be a place where I might upload a document or a worksheet. And for create a link, let's imagine that you're a social studies teacher and you want your students to go on a web quest about the Civil War. Well, you can take those links that your students are visiting and put them in here to Quizzes, and again, create some questions that are directly related to the websites that you had your students visit. So we're going to go in here to create with a custom prompt, and you can see create a 5-question quiz on the parts of speech. I think that's what we're going to try to make one on here, and we'll set this to about a 5th grade level. And you can see you can also set the number of questions as well, and let's generate. Now, while it's generating, it is going to ask for more specific information about the topic you want to generate questions for. And this is going to happen with just about any generative AI. The more specific you can be, the better results you're going to get. So let's say we just want to focus on nouns, verbs, and adjectives for this, and we'll continue on. Now, I fast forwarded a little bit here to where we actually get our questions, and you can see that it came up with 10 questions, and they're pretty basic questions. This is a 5th grade lesson on parts of speech. But I want to really focus on all the customization options that you have available to you. Starting with the modify quiz bar here, then this will apply it to the entire quiz, but you can fix grammatical errors. So if you uploaded this from some document, you can go back through and the AI will actually fix your grammatical errors for you. If you don't love any of the questions, you can replace with a similar question. You can even add more similar questions if you'd like. Speaking with similar questions, if you don't like how this one is phrased or you don't like this question at all, you can go and edit each individual question yourself. And again, you have some AI options here for individual questions. The second bar has some differentiation options, and this is the bar I want to spend the most time talking about, because not only can you translate this language, you can convert these to real scenarios, you can reduce the options, particularly for answers, and you can even add answer explanations. I like this translate language if you have an ESL student in class that may do well in their own native language, and this will convert it for you. I haven't tested whether that translation is really accurate or not, because of course I don't speak too many languages very proficiently, but that's just an option to look at. You can also convert it to real world scenario. So if you don't like these questions and how basic they are, you can change it to a real life scenario where that may be useful. You can also reduce the options, which is really important if you have, let's say, IEPs or 504s, where they have different accommodations and maybe modifications that you need to use. And lastly, add answer explanations. I'll click that just so you can see what that would look like. But basically, it's just going to give an answer explanation for each question, whether they get the question right or wrong. And you can see here, like, which of the following is a noun. The correct answer is book, because it is a noun referring to a written or printed work. And it will do that for all the questions. If you only want answer explanations on certain questions, again, you can do it question by question if you like that. Another feature I want to show you over here is the Improve Engagement tab, where you can add a theme, you can add students' names, you can make all the questions fun. Thinking about adding a theme to the topic, I like this for doing cross-curricular type activities. So maybe they are learning about parts of speech in your class, but they're also learning about jungle biology in another class. Well, you may want to add a thematic narrative where you can say, make all the questions jungle related. And we'll enhance that. And now you can see that some of these questions have been made to incorporate jungle and jungle-like animals into it, which is really nice for, again, keeping kids engaged and also promoting cross-curricular activities. As you saw back there just a moment ago, if you wanted to add a theme, you can see some other options that they have. Try out like Shakespeare, relate it to cartoons, change it to a futuristic theme. So a lot of variety and a lot of customization options there. The other thing I'll talk about is adding student names. This just makes it more interesting to students when they see themselves in the problem or the question. Make all questions fun is very similar to adding a theme. And of course, we already talked about convert to real world scenario. But I also want to show you over here on the right-hand side where you can change the amount of points that each question is. You can change whether certain questions are graded or not. So you have a lot of things you can do to formulate this exactly how it best fits your particular classroom or your environment. As you can see, Quizzes is a powerful application that gives educators easy-to-use tools to create different types of assessments. With all the customization options that are available and with more features to be added later, it's a tool that should be considered to help teachers be more productive and proficient while still maintaining a high-quality level of work. It can engage students whether you're a creative type or not. Extra practice problems are no problem for Quizzes. Have you ever wanted to differentiate an assessment for different groups of students? Quizzes can do that too. Overall, I would encourage you to look into Quizzes and try it out for yourself. It is a beta version after all, so more features are bound to be added later. With that said, it's time to move to our second generative AI application, an app called Gamma AI. Gamma is a powerful application as well that uses generative AI to create presentations similar to PowerPoints and slideshows. It can be used to generate entire websites, although we're going to focus on just the presentation aspect. This is another app that can be used in a variety of settings and contexts and has customization features to allow you to make it your own. Let's take a look. So here we are at the main page of Gamma AI, and we're going to be creating a new presentation. Just keep in mind that this also can create documents or even web pages, but we're going to stick to the presentation portion of this. And I picked Gamma AI again because it is going to allow you to do this across all grade levels and all subjects. This is useful to anybody, even corporate trainers. And for our topic that we're going to pick, I decided to use the scientific method. And you'll notice that I was a little bit more specific in my instructions here. I wanted to make the presentation engaging and to add pictures, although it will ask me to be more specific in what it wants, as is with every generative AI program, because the more specific you can be, the better results you're going to get. So you can see here, this is the outline that they came up with. I think we'll just kind of focus on that top part. and continuing on. Now, while it's generating in the background, we're going to go ahead and pick a theme, and you're going to see the real-time application of this generative AI to generate this presentation. And we'll stick with the marine theme here. Fast forward to the completion of this presentation. You can see it's a really visually appealing presentation. The information seems to be pretty solid here. And the nice thing about Gamma is that it really has all the tools you need to make any adjustments based on this initial presentation that was generated. Kind of talking about some of the tools they have, I really like this Edit with AI button. It's kind of a chatbot feature, and you can just really tell the AI system what you want as if you were talking to another human, and you don't really need any coding skills to make it work. You can see the examples they have listed, but you can always type anything you want. Maybe you want the presentation to put more emphasis or even elaborate more on the hypothesis step of the scientific method. And you can ask the chatbot to do that. So let's go down here to the hypothesis section. Right here, and we'll click on this particular card, and we'll say, can you elaborate more on the hypothesis portion? And you can see the chatbot working here to edit this particular section. And you can see that they added use your imagination to come up with possible explanations and predictions for your observations and questions. And again, if you don't like that, you can go back to the original over here, or you can stay with the suggested. And again, you can always edit it yourself if you want. We'll leave it as the original. I also want to focus on some of the other presentation tools. The nice thing here is that if you ever put together a PowerPoint or slideshow, you understand how time-consuming it can be to get all the formatting done, and it can be especially frustrating when adding in animations and transitions. Gamma can actually take care of all that for you and provide you a great starting rough draft for the content you're wanting to present. So here on the sidebar, you can see all the tools available to you. You got card templates, text formatting, call-out blocks, layout options, visual templates. But I want to look a little further at these next three, and that you can also add images, including your own. You can also search the web, but Gamma itself can actually also generate images with AI. That's a little bit past the scope of this video, but I would encourage you to try it if you're having trouble locating an appropriate image, or maybe you just want to create something really wild for your presentation. You might want to play around with it for a bit. You can also add GIFs, which are fun for students since they're always sharing those recent memes with each other, and this can make your presentation more engaging and fun for your audience. I would also point out that for the video options, there's a lot of options as well for video formats, including uploading your own, YouTube, but there's also TikTok and Spotify if you want to incorporate some social media or even some music into your presentation. It's always nice to set a tone with some background music, similar to the video you're watching right now. Lastly, you can also embed web apps and web pages, and you can really turn this into a living, breathing presentation. It could really become your classroom portal if you wanted to make it so. You've got the ability to upload from Google Drives, PDF. If you scroll down here, all your Microsoft Office products, along with other various applications. And then, of course, lastly, there's a forms and buttons, if that interests you at all. So as you can see, Gamma AI can really help bring your presentations to life, and it will at least give you a starting point for you to knock out the finer details. My advice would be to use this particular application as a rough draft and really verify all the information created by the AI. As mentioned earlier, AI is susceptible to generating misleading and false information, so you should thoroughly check your presentation before presenting it to an audience. Other than that, I love this app because it improves the teacher's productivity. It's very visually appealing, and it's easy to work with, especially with that chatbot feature I mentioned earlier. A few other things you can do before I leave you here is you can always share this with a team of people to work collaboratively on it. You can always go back and change the theme. You can view your analytics. And lastly, you can export this to use more as a download rather than a web-based application. Our roles as educators have continued to change over the years. With technology comes a bit of hesitancy, especially with something as powerful as AI. In our schools, though, we have to provide opportunities for students to learn about changing technology because of the impact it may have on their future. Not only can AI tools enhance creativity and productivity, but they can also provide educators with valuable insights into student learning and assist with some of the time-consuming tasks that educators have. Even with all the promises of AI, it's important that we take time to talk about artificial intelligence in our classrooms. Not only do we teach the content, but we serve as mentors, facilitators of learning, and co-learners with our students, especially as we embrace these powerful emerging technologies. I think it's really important that we help students learn about the benefits of them and how to use these tools properly, responsibly, and ethically. To end here, I'll leave you with a quote from the founder of Khan Academy, Sal Khan, and what he thinks about the future of AI in our classrooms.
You know, I've always talked about personalized curricula, but the age of static curricula is dead. I think the teacher of the future is really going to make their classroom an amazing experience, like truly experiential learning. They might use the AI, hey everyone, we're going to talk to Zeus this morning. Let's get your questions together, special guest. Or if a student says, why do I need to learn this? It says like, well, what are you interested in? And I really see for the teacher, the AI becomes like an army of teaching assistants, which every teacher would love to have. That's going to be the fun of the teacher, which is be the conductor of the orchestra.